What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So for the past few days I've been in the Northeast, to Connecticut to be exact, and while I'm here I've been driving around a 2018 Nissan Rogue that was loaned to me. This is the SV all-wheel drive version, and I figured I'd do a little video on it, kind of give you a little bit of a review and let you know what I think about this. So let's get started. So this is one of Nissan's smaller SUVs. It's not as big as the Murano or the Pathfinder, so it's definitely below that. But it's a pretty decent vehicle. I've never saw myself as an SUV person, and to be honest with you, I still don't. And I didn't really understand why people were switching over to SUVs from cars. But I kind of get it, and I'm going to point on some of those things that I figured out. But for starters, as you can see, it's got some massive 17-inch wheels. Every good SUV needs to have some good-sized wheels. From the front, it actually looks pretty decent. It's not very muted, and it does have sort of an aggressive look to it, which thank you, Nissan, for doing that. It does have the turn signals in the rear view mirror, or the side mirrors, so which a lot of vehicles do. So we come back to the back portion here, and we open up the trunk. It is an automatic gate, and you can do it with your foot as well to open and close it. There's also a button here to close it when it's open. In the back here, I think you have like about 30 cubic feet of space. You can fold these down, which do fold flat, which gives you from the back here all the way up to the seats about 70 cubic feet. So it does have plenty of room for grocery shopping and just shopping in general. You got some storage underneath here that you can hide, which is kind of neat. You got two dividers. So it's not short on storage space. There's plenty of it there. And it's got the tinted glass. This is the SV. It is the upper, one of the upper ones. So you do get some of the privacy glass. Okay. There is plenty of room in the back seat. You can definitely fit 2 adults in here comfortably, 3 children if you have that. But one of the things I do like is if you pull this here, you got your center armrest, but it gives you a pass-through. So if you have a person sitting here and a person sitting here, and you got something long you need to haul, you can go right straight through there. And as you can see, it gives you a clear shot straight up there, which, you know, if you're holding a couple 2x4s or something, it's definitely adequate for that. Now, I'm 5 feet 8 inches, and as you can see, I have plenty of leg room here. You could definitely fit somebody in here that is 6 feet or maybe a little bit taller, and they'd still have plenty of room. Another thing about these is that the seats do recline. There you go, straight up. Just by the pull of the lever. Both of them do that. Also here in the back, you definitely have a couple of vents, which is pretty normal nowadays on most vehicles. They do have the vents in the back, so you get your heat and your air conditioning. This particular vehicle does not have the sunroof package. The person who purchased this didn't find that necessary, and to be honest with you, you can take it or leave it. I know I don't care for a sunroof myself, so. The instrument panel and everything's laid out very nicely. It's got a nice shifter. It is an automatic. It's a CVT transmission. One of the things I find hysterical about this car is it has a flat bottom steering wheel. Why they did that in an SUV, I don't know, but it's there. It is kind of cool looking. I guess it gives you that kind of a sporty feel. It has a touch screen infotainment system with most of the things you pretty much find nowadays. It's got satellite radio, and there's a USB connector right there in front of the shifter where you can connect your iPhone or Android device, because it does have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So the instrument cluster is laid out nicely. It's very easy to read even in the dark. You got plenty of buttons here on the steering wheel, which are pretty self-explanatory, and they are relatively easy to use. Now, with this being a CVT and an SUV, it doesn't have paddle shifters, so you're not going to get that. Now here in the passenger seat, you got definitely a lot of room. The seat's not back as far as it goes, but it is back quite a bit, but it can go forward quite a bit as well. The things that you actually touch, they're actually not that bad. You can tell it's a plasticky type of touching, although this is leather for the center console, which is nice. It does have heated seats. And you got 2 cup holders here, and there are cup holders in the door as well, and there are cup holders in the rear door, which I forgot to mention. It does have dual climate control, which is nice for your passenger and the drivers. They don't have to be on the same temperature, which is always nice to have. Push button start, and you can see where the key would have been. It's interesting to note that they kept the same column as they used to have, or before they have with cars with actual keys, and just put a cover there. So you have a port here. And of course you have some storage in here. You can put a couple pens, and this is pretty deep, and there is another USB port there and another power port here. So if you got some stuff to charge, you can do it. The sun visors are actually relatively big. I was very impressed with how, I mean, look at that. That's a big sun visor. They do detach, and they both slide depending upon where you need it. So that works out too, because I needed that yesterday. You got your sunglass holder, and you got some buttons for the lights up in here. And before we get to the engine compartment, I do want to point out this badge right here. As you can see, it's darker compared to the chrome ring around it. That's because this has the sensor on the front of it with the collision avoidance warning system, blah blah blah. That's the sensor where it's housed to sense where if it's going to be in a crash. So that's why that's a little bit darker. They hide them wherever they can. Apologize if there's some wind noise. I am outside, obviously. Now, under the hood, you get Nissan's QR25, which is the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, putting out a whopping 170 horsepower, 175 foot-pounds of torque. Now, you're not going to win any drag races with it, and it's not going to be the quickest thing getting on an on-ramp onto the highway either. But it gets the job done, and it's fuel efficient, which was the name of the game. This engine is mated to, like I said earlier, to the CVT transmission, which is then routing its power to an all-wheel drive system, which is predominantly front-wheel drive, but when it needs it, it will send the power to the rear wheels. Okay, so back in the driver's seat, and one of the things you're going to see here is in the center of the cluster, in between the 2 gauges, you do have some information that can be read out, which a lot of cars now have. Now, you're looking at 28.9 miles to the gallon. I just took this vehicle on a 400-mile round trip up into Maine, back down to Connecticut, where I'm staying right now, before I go back to Dallas. And we achieved 28.9 miles to the gallon. And that was just about all highway miles. I did that 400 miles on 1 tank of gas, which was very good. I can never do that in my Challenger, well, because engines are way different, but this thing weighs quite a bit. It does have all-wheel drive, and it's supposed to get about 27 miles to the gallon combined. It's supposed to, I think on the highway, it's rated at 32 miles to the gallon. And as you can see, I did pretty much highway, and it was 28.9. You'll find a majority of the things you pretty much expect in here. There's your preset for the radio or your XM. This is going to tell you what's going on. I was on the highway, and this lit up red because it was sensing a collision in the front, because when everybody slammed their brakes on the highway from 70 miles an hour for no reason. Right here is a light that lights up on this corner and that corner. It's a little amber light, and that is for your blind spot monitoring. You got your tire pressure, and this is, like I was saying earlier about the 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, it's sending 100% of the power all the time to the front wheels. You can keep it on this gauge, and you'll be able to tell when it's sending the power to the rear wheels. I haven't looked at this, so I can't tell you exactly how and when it does that, but it's there if you ever wanted to look at it. And there's no warnings. If there was some type of warnings, it would show you that. That's not accurate because it was never reset. That was never reset, but there you go. So that's a lot of the features and stuff that this vehicle comes with. I would recommend this for somebody that doesn't want to spend a lot of money, because this particular one, in this trim level, I looked it up, and they're going right now for right around $27,000 to $28,000. You get a lot for that money, considering the other vehicles in this segment. Like if you're looking at the BMW 3 Series, there's no way you would get what you get in this for that kind of money, because I don't even think you can't even get a 3 Series BMW or an X3. What is that? It's the X3 for less than $30,000. So this is a really good buy if you're interested in like a second vehicle, or if you're just a family that's just starting out that wants a nice SUV to haul around your kid or two kids, and you're an aspiring soccer mom. This is perfect for you. There's plenty of room for grocery shopping and going trips to the mall with the kids and picking up things. Sports equipment will fit, plenty of sports equipment back there if you're into that kind of stuff. So I would recommend it for somebody in that aperture. That being said, the ride quality, I didn't find that to be that great. It was kind of harsh here and there. It was okay. I won't give it the best rating in the world, obviously, and I'm not going to give it the worst, but it was mediocre and marginal at best. So just keep that in mind too. And I'm going to point it out again because I still think it's hysterical every time I look at it. This flat bottom steering wheel. Why, Nissan? I mean, I like it, don't get me wrong, but why? This is a thinner steering wheel as well. It's not as thick as like some of the racing steering wheels, because, well, it's not a race car, obviously, but it's very adequate in its day-to-day life. It is fuel efficient. It's not fast by any means whatsoever. So if you're looking for something to do some stoplight racing, but don't even come close to looking at this, because it's slow. It is very slow. You hit that gas and you're just waiting for it to go. You're talking about 170 horsepower that's trying to pull this behemoth. It's quite a bit for it to get up to speed. So I think 0 to 60 is like 8 or 9 seconds. Don't quote me on that. I'll put it here on the screen. But it's not the fastest thing in the world. So hope you guys appreciated it. This is my first official review, I guess you could say, of a vehicle that is not my Challenger. If you'd like to see more of these, just let me know. And if you're in the Dallas area and you have a vehicle I can do a video on, do a little bit of a review, hit me up at Offbeat Motors on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can leave a comment here, or you can email me at offbeatmotors@gmail.com, and we can hook up that way. So appreciate you guys for stopping by and watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.